I have a strong feeling that some of y'all are really going to hate me after this video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Zaria Smith and I typically make commentary videos just like this one. Today's candle is lava, because just like lava, if you sit and ignore it, eventually it will come and ruin your entire life. Also, you may notice something wrong with my face. I got my wisdom teeth taken out a little bit ago. My face is still swollen. We love that for me. It's gone down drastically, but I can't just like not post a video. If you didn't know, Cassie Howard. She used to be one of my favorite characters in the show, and not just because, you know, she was gorgeous. It's just because I just kind of resonated a lot with her character. I won't get into why, but if I were to relate to any Euphoria character, it would be 90% Cassie, 10% Lexi. Season 1, people loved Cassie so much. She was one of the favorite characters, and it could just be because she's blonde hair, blue eyes, literally gorgeous, or, you know, it could just be how her character was. And she was one of the characters that kind of had like a rough of things, like wasn't really coping with life the way other people would, and we all sympathize with her. However, I noticed in this show, and also just in general, people will only sympathize with someone until it no longer benefits them. I'll get into that. But either way, in today's video, I wanted it to be a Cassie defender. And I know people are going to be like, you want to sleep with your best friend's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend. And that's not the case. I am very much against that. I'm very much a girl code type of girl. So don't be in the comments coming for my character. But I think that defending characters that may not be your favorite character can help you understand the show just a little bit more. I don't know, I guess. Let's just get into it. So, background. Who is Cassie Howard? Cassie is a character in the TV show Euphoria, and Euphoria just finished season 2. So, Cassie Howard was a character that I feel like was a character that had one of like the deeper storylines and one of the deeper issues, despite having a younger sister who went through the exact same thing that she did. We could see that her character kind of took things very differently. Cassie Howard has 2 parents. I mean, most people do. And her dad, unfortunately, got in a really, really bad car accident. Like, so bad to where he almost died and was in the ICU. Like most people who end up with this type of addiction, he was prescribed pain pills to, you know, subside the pain that he was in, obviously, from getting in a horrible car accident that, you know, almost ended his entire life. It makes sense to give him pain medicine. But his case, such as many cases that are happening, he ended up getting addicted to those pain medicine pills things or whatever. And slowly but surely started to isolate himself from his wife, his children, started seeing them less and less every time. And it's kind of like, imagine your parent choosing a substance like over you. That's a very unique experience, and I hope none of you guys have to deal with that. But because of this, Cassie has this really hard time with male validation and only feels whole, at least from how I see her character being portrayed, as if a man is telling her like, good job, or, you know, if she is getting some sort of validation from a man, whether that is a good thing or a bad thing. She does the things that she does, and the majority of things that she does, so she can get a man's attention. In season 2 specifically, Maddie even says, like, have you ever been single before? Because she is constantly seeking out men for various other things that they do. And I think that that's one of the main things people tend to forget about her character, despite that being her main character design, is that Miss Thing will do anything to get a boy's attention, to get attention from a man. Like, that is her main goal in life. And that's really upsetting, and it's really sad. So male validation, daddy issues, as you'd like to say, this was Cassie's whole vibe. And suddenly she gets in a relationship with a character named McKay, who shockingly was only in 1 episode this whole season for season 2. But he was so important last season. The point is that she was in a relationship with McKay. He was a year older than her. He was in college while they were together, and Their relationship really wasn't the best. First of all, I would never let myself get disrespected by a man that was 5'7". That was the first mistake that she made. But that aside, the relationship was not good. The relationship was giving off very much Britney Spears, you're toxic, like not a good vibe. And like any person who is very deeply in love, she ignored it. And they had their fights every now and then, but she drank a goldfish with him, like she was really trying to make the relationship work. And then suddenly she gets pregnant. And you might notice that in season 2, she doesn't have a baby. So naturally, she ended up having to terminate her pregnancy because McKay said that he doesn't want a child. His coach would kill him. His parents would kill him, blah, blah, blah. And the point is that her mom takes her to terminate her pregnancy. The point is that throughout season 1, Cassie slowly but surely was breaking apart. And it was being dwindled away by hearing that one speech from that one character that was so irrelevant that told her that she was boring and the people only want stuff to be with her, people only want to be around her just to have intercourse with her.
You are so fucking boring. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you because no one else will. Any guy who says he's interested in you beyond just fucking you is full of shit.
And her having videos of her getting leaked of her having intercourse or doing things, with men, and having that leaked and posted all online. And her, even by the man that she betrayed her best friend for, even was calling her horrible names because of the things that she had done. And she says, I believe in season 2, that she doesn't care what anybody thinks, at least she's loved.
At least I'm loved.
And I think that is kind of her mentality, and that's kind of what's happening. Because if you think about it, throughout the whole season, we can see her character slowly breaking down, but she is only able to continue going on because of the immense amount of love that she is receiving from people, and it's really sad and upsetting. But I think that a lot of people have a tendency to just ignore that. People really don't think about that when they think about the stuff that she's done in season 2. But after my season 1 recap, we get into season 2. And in season 2, Cassie is kind of already off the rails. We see her in episode 1. She gets kicked out of her younger sister's car because she was drinking a lot excessively and just acting a mess. Now, if you consider what happened the previous season, she just terminated her pregnancy, had a horrible situation happen with her boyfriend, had a horrible situation happen to her where this guy told her she's practically worthless, was just not having a good time, gets belligerent, and her sister kicks her out of her car. Which one? It must be really bad if your sister kicks you out of her car. So she's drunk, alone, walking around, and suddenly Nate Jacobs comes. And I made a tweet about this. I probably deleted it by now because it probably got a lot of hate, or a TikTok comment. But basically, I want to stress that if Nate wasn't there, someone else would have been, and this would be an entirely different video for her character. And I think it is really sad, the events that take place after this, but I just want to say that it could have been any person that could have found her and taken her. And I saw so many TikToks of people being like, if it was, my best friend's ex-boyfriend, I wouldn't have gone anywhere. She was drunk, barely coherent, and a man comes to pick her up. That's terrifying for any girl in any situation, if you understand how that works. She's very lucky that it was Nate and not some random man that was going to whisk her away, like Cal Jacobs, for example. It could have been so much worse than what it was. They sleep together at the New Year's party, which, is one way to do it. And this kind of leads into the downhill slope that Cassie then goes into. Because if you consider everything that she is going through, and you consider everything that I mentioned previously, Cassie's main goal is to be loved. Her boyfriend, or ex-boyfriend, McKay, literally made her essentially terminate her own pregnancy, which is horrible. That's not something that people just want to do. It's something that she was almost in a way forced to. Also just being 16 or 17-year-old she was, and being in that situation that could change your entire life, that's pretty scary to deal with. And Nate was there. Again, I think it really could have been anybody. I think Nate just happened to be there. And Nate was, you know, it's not just her fault. It's also Nate's fault for sleeping with his ex-girlfriend's best friend too, you know. But alas, then we go into the sequence of Cassie and Nate sneaking around and being together. Now, that is very hard to defend, because I think that in general, you really shouldn't do that. One time, you know, that's a mistake and then you move on, but then continuing to do it is an entirely other thing. And this video is not me trying to say that, oh, it's not Cassie's fault at all, and she just wants to be loved and blah blah blah, and it's not her fault, because it is her fault. She deliberately, at this point, after the first time they slept together, she chose to continue doing it. She chose to hide it from her best friend, and then when it came out in the most funny way possible, she has to face repercussions for that. She has to get her head slammed into a wall, because that is what you deserve for doing that. Like, that's betraying an entire friendship group. And also, I will say, this is a random side note, but in high school, I was the Maddie, my friend was the Cassie. And I did forgive her. I didn't want to, but I did forgive her. Because, like, in general, do you expect a high schooler to have common sense? I mean, you'd assume that because, you know, as a teenager, you probably were a teenager or are a teenager, and you have enough sense to not do that. But specifically in my school, the friend that did this to me was in a friend group where they all dated the same people. Like, it was, like, cyclical. And you and I know we shouldn't sleep with our friends' ex-boyfriends or current boyfriends. However, it's not so common as what you think was common sense, you know, and it's just, I can't defend that. However, I can defend her want to be loved, and I can understand, which is, you know, it's going to be another section, but I can understand why she would do this. And this is where I go into my section. I want to just briefly touch on empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share feelings with another person. I can remove myself from my Maddie self, and I can think, yeah, I can understand why Cassie did that. Because if a man is telling you that he loves you and that's all you ever want, you're going to continue doing that. And it may sacrifice everything in your life, but like Cassie said, at least I'm loved, and that is the most sad and horrible thing to happen. Cassie's character is very much a male validation, very much an Ophelia, very much just like needs a man. And you know, I think that we as a society can look at that and be like, you know, get it together, sister. But also I think that a lot of people they fail to understand why characters do the things that they do. Like, it's literally like a TV show that people put a lot of effort into, though it may not seem like it, just to get you to understand why a character acts the way that they do. And it's interesting to me that people don't, well, first of all, there are different types of Euphoria fans. There's the ones on Twitter, the ones on TikTok, and then the actual fans, because some people, they don't even watch the show. Like, there are people that I found out that didn't even know Jules was trans. How? And practicing empathy is honestly a way to understand shows' characters, because imagine if, this is a crazy example, but Walter White, oh my god, Walter White, horrible character, but you want to know what? At the end of the show, I bet you 90% of people watching that show were rooting for well, Jesse didn't really do anything that wrong, but we're rooting for the bad guy, the villain of the entire TV show. People were rooting for him at the end. And it's because the show builds it up and lets you be able to have the ability to understand why he does the things that he does. Now, Sam Levinson didn't really give that much background in terms of Cassie's character, and we don't know if she ever received any therapy, any sort of counseling, if she even talked to Maddie or anybody about it. And same with Maddie. Like, Maddie may have not told Cassie that her ex-boyfriend, how horrible he was to her. She probably didn't even tell her that he's the one that choked her at the fair. Because if a person is getting abused, 9 times out of 10, they're going to hide it, and they're not going to, because they sympathize with their abuser, they don't want people to think negatively about them because of one bad thing. So again, Cassie probably doesn't know 90% of the things that Nate has done to Maddie. And on top of that, Maddie probably doesn't understand all the stuff that Cassie has gone through, because I highly doubt that Cassie would have told her best friend, even if it was, that the horrible things that happen to her, because teenage girls get very embarrassed about but things happening to them and how people are going to respond or react to it. So it's just something to consider. But I guess I've been talking for a very, very long time, so I'll wrap this up. Let me know your opinions on Cassie. Do you think that she's a redeemable character? Do you think, what do you think is going to happen with her in season 3? Let me know your genuine feelings and thoughts on season 2. I would make a review, but I feel like it would go, like, I could review that in 2 minutes, and it would just not be the best review. But let me know your opinions on Euphoria season 2. Let me know your opinions on Cassie as a character. Let me know, in high school, were you the Maddie or were you the Cassie? I'm curious. I want to know. Would you forgive Cassie if you were Maddie? I forgave my Cassie. It took me a while, but we all have our little qualms and issues in high school, and we know in our adult lives to not do that, but teens are some of the dumbest people that I've ever come across. But yeah, so I guess that's literally it. So if you guys like that, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, because it helps small channels like mine. Make sure to also subscribe to me if you've watched this long, because you probably like me just a little bit, just enough to subscribe, and maybe come back for like one more video. But yeah, I guess that's it. Make sure to stay happy and stay healthy and stay safe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. My jaw feels like has golf balls. Like I'm just like a Pac-Man. Oh my god, I need to end this.